Wolf's wine.
Not even for Woach wine, man. It's my flu game. I look terrible, so I just got to cover up my eyes. I don't know what's going on, but my whole house is sick. But we're here. No days off. How you doing, Parlay Pete?
Parlay Pete's doing fantastic. How are we doing today, AC Lee?
Not too bad. Feeling a lot better than I was earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
Hot shower before the pod. Drank some tea. And now I'm ready for some
green.
Actually, no, some peppermint tea, mixed with some honey or some lemon ginger tea or some shit like that.
Okay.
Add a little honey to it and just, sip.
Bite, sip. There used to be a commercial that did that, something deep dish mambo bumbo or some shit. It was Little Caesars. Most people, they had like a mariachi band.
Pizza.
Yeah.
I don't really have much BS to kind of start the show off with. Unless you want to just jump right into it.
BS. I don't have too much either. Not a lot of bullshit,
No. The pod wars are going on in urban black media right now.
Yeah.
Podcasters are beefing with each other, and I think it's absolutely crazy.
Who are said podcasters that are beefing with each other?
All right, so
I'm out of the loop on this stuff,
Yeah, so Joe Budden went on Savon's podcast, right? Savon used to work for Joe Budden, like in production. They talked about the whole breakup, because that they were there, and that does good podcast numbers.
Right.
So then the guys, Rory and Maul from the old show, responded to what was said on the breakup.
Uh-huh.
And calling people liars and talking about ball glazing and all types of stuff. So then Savon and Alex respond to Rory and Maul. It's just all these podcasters going back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
About stories that are really only relevant to them personally.
But it's being brought out to the media. Well, because they are the media to a degree.
And then they talk about how I don't even like to do this messy clickbait shit. I'm trying to be, well, then don't do it. Just ignore it.
Right.
Just say, hey, you know what? Having this conversation that you people care about that means nothing to your real lives makes me money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make me money.
And I want to do whatever it takes to make myself more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I listen to that stuff for entertainment, I really hate that people in our community take that stuff seriously. Like in the comments.
Seriously.
Like in the comments. Hey, you was foul. You can't say that. Like, why do you care? Go get a life. I guess that's some pointless BS to start the show, but hey.
You know where we're starting from.
Guys, here's what we're doing. We're going to run the piss out of this football. Hey, I got you. We're getting ready to run the piss out of football. Trying to get something going. I got you.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Guys, here's what we're doing. We're going to run the piss out of this football. Hey, I got you. We're getting ready to run the piss out of football. Trying to get something going. I got you.
I just had to play that again because I imagine when Bijan Robinson got drafted by the Falcons, that quote was playing in his head. Like, hey, you're going to get to the league and we're going to run the piss out of the football. But little did we know, we brought Bijan in to be an off-ball shooter, some would say. Not first-person shooter mode. No. Off-ball shooter. Our grand old coach, Arthur Smith, had a quote saying, his impact away from the ball can open things up. All right, cool. But his impact with the ball can open things up, like the scoring. More touchdowns, more points, more wins. And maybe we wouldn't be sitting here at 4-5, headed out to Arizona right before the bye. Parlay Pete, I know you have some words for Coach Smith.
I do have words for Coach Smith. Let me tell you, here's the thing. I don't want to be that fan that's take care, brother. I don't want to be that fan that is always talking shit about his team, because I'm one of the more optimistic fans. I don't try to be as I'm pessimistic whenever it is required, but I'm more of a glass half full than a glass half empty type guy.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we sung his praises, for 2 years. I questioned some stuff last year. That was the first time that I started questioning stuff like the Commanders game, questionable play calling, considering you had the timeouts and where you were at. There was a lot of questionability, all that stuff. But now the last 2 weeks, we've kind of seen stuff that's been questionable. He made the right move by moving Heineke in the second half of the Titans game. And maybe it wasn't his fault that deep third just kept fucking being open, for a rookie quarterback making his first start to pick us apart. But, this past game, we looked at your defense got you the ball down to the 1 yard line. And I think that this would be the point in the game, too, where you would say that you were very much so concerned, too. You get down to the 1 yard line. I think you get a false start. So 5-yard penalty. Then, it's still first and goal on the 6. You throw a wide receiver screen to tight end 2. That gets you nothing. Then the very next play, you run the ball with him. He runs the ball. You get nothing. And then, or maybe you got a yard or 2. I don't remember, but you were still short. And then the very next play, you run the ball with a running back 2. And he loses about 6 or 7 yards, and you settle for a field goal. Stuff like that was the difference in this game. You lost by 3 points because you didn't put up enough 6s and 7s.
Here we go. First and goal from the 1 yard line. False start. Pass to Jonnu Smith. Rush by Jonnu Smith. Rush by Tyler Algier. Field goal. So
yeah, it was ugly.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it was ugly.
I mean, what is Kyle Pitts there for? What is Bijan Robinson there for? Why are you not using the best tools in your box? Do you really think your scheme is so good that you can always scheme it up? I don't care how good your X's and O's are. It's about the Jimmy and Joes or whatever you want to call it. The guys on the field is what make it happen. So if you're not giving the best guys on the field the opportunity to make the best plays, you think, oh, my scheme can do it. Ask Kyle Shanahan what happened when he had James Garoppolo playing quarterback head-to-head versus Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
The scheme was perfect. The receiver was open. Overthrow. Game over.
Yeah.
And I just think that maybe he's trying to get packed up and sent back to Memphis, go work for the family business.
Yeah, be at the headquarters, huh?
Yeah, because
he's already living in Tennessee before, so maybe he's comfortable there.
I'm saying, because think about this, Parlay Pete. We draft Bijan Robinson in the top 10.
Uh-huh.
We draft Kyle Pitts in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
But we're rewarding Tyler Algier in the red zone.
Yeah.
We're giving the ball to Jonnu Smith. And I understand that they have chemistry together because they were in Tennessee. But I'm starting to think that Arthur's not drafting his team. And his play calling is reflecting who he thinks should be on the team, not who is actually being put on the team, if that makes any sense.
It makes sense. I think that at the same time, maybe he's not having as much input on the team as we would hope he would. But that doesn't excuse the fact that you're not using the groceries that you were given. Look, you might prefer a filet mignon. I might prefer a ribeye. Okay, we were given a porter steak. Cook that shit, bro. Cook it. You still need to cook it the right way. I don't know what the preferred cup has to do with you cooking it the right way. Yeah, there's a bigger piece of meat versus a smaller piece of meat versus a more tender piece of meat. The cooking aspect of it doesn't change. Medium, rare, medium, that stuff is all still the same. There is no difference, And so I don't understand why it's not being cooked well. It's not being prepared the way it should. That doesn't have anything to do. Your preference of meat has nothing to do with my preference of meat. Okay. Maybe for Dwight Howard it matters, but in this case it doesn't.
And it shouldn't. And I think that's my biggest issue is what it sounds like is that the team is not on one accord.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arthur Blank and Rich McKay upstairs have a vision for the franchise. I think Terry Fontenot said what he needed to say to get him a job as a GM. And I think Arthur Smith said what he had to say to get him a job as a head coach. Because, again, with these top 10 picks that we have on the field and the impact that they show when they're actually used,
mm-hmm.
and the fact that they're not being used just tells me, hey, man, there's no synergy here.
No synergy.
We're not talking about things. We're not agreeing. We're not agreeing. We're not agreeing to disagree. We're not compromising. I just really feel like Rich is picking the players. Terry's just there. And Arthur is saying, I'm going to coach the guys I want to coach.
Well, and another thing that it feels like, too, is that, Arthur Smith is clearly – he's got some arrogance about himself. And I get it. He is a billionaire. In reality, he is a billionaire. We have a billionaire coach. Yes, his dad is the billionaire. His dad's going to die one day, and that shit's going to him and his siblings. He's a billionaire. He's going to be in control of Fed. At some point in life, he's going to have to make some decisions for that company.
Yep.
Right? And so
session style.
There's this arrogance about him. He gets on Pat McAfee. They ask him about this stuff. He's very coy about it. What's the point of telling us that Desmond Ridder had a concussion and that you didn't put him back in? And then you start Taylor Heineke the next week, and you're going to start him again this week. Just say that you benched the guy. I don't understand what it's okay to be wrong. We're all wrong. All of us are going to be wrong about something. I wish that I could be right about everything. I do, because if I was, then I'd be Jesus Christ. But I'm not. And so, I'm not going to be right about everything. And that's okay, because neither are you, neither is the guy next to you, neither is the guy on your screen, neither is the person you're talking to on the phone. None of us are going to always be right. I
know one guy who's right once he gets a box score.
That's Josh Holsey.
That's Josh Holsey. You give that man a box score, he'll tell you play by play what happened.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just he can't be wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone 12 minutes. We had to take a shot at Josh Holsey.
Well, he was owed one.
I mean, he's probably taking shots right now.
That's bad football tonight. He might have taken a break. He probably has a cold brew, though. Or maybe he's making those cocktails.
Maybe he's doing date night, taking a dog with him, too.
You ain't a dog, a little chow or something.
But no, you talk about his arrogance. What are we going to do at quarterback next year? Because Taylor Heineke was who Taylor Heineke is. He will throw the ball down the field. He's better than Desmond Ridder. Bad interception, and didn't always make a play when we needed it. Expect it.
Yeah.
I don't want you all to think that we were expecting Taylor Heineke to step in and be C.J. Stroud. We know who Taylor Heineke is. We just know what he provides has more upside than what Desmond Ridder provides. And Correct. If Desmond Ridder is going to turn the ball over 3 times a game, hey man, get Heineke in here. Dez was the cautious one.
Yeah. Well, gosh, I mean, fuck, and that's what made it so bad. Dez is cautious and still turns the ball over, right? He knows he's kind of walking on eggshells because he hasn't proven anything in this league, outside of maybe how much he blows Arthur in his office, because that would be the only reason why he was still quarterback in this team or was even handed the job to begin with to start the year. Should have been a quarterback competition to begin with. And I get it. You need to get the starters in sync with the starters. Reps, it only fucks the team up more. Who gives a shit? We didn't even get to see these guys in preseason, which was another arrogant move by Arthur Smith. Desmond Ridder played one drive preseason game 2.
Who
They
is
did
Desmond
the
Ritter?
first drive. Bro, why the fuck did Desmond Ritter not? And I'm not saying that has anything to do with what's going on now, because it doesn't necessarily, but like,
He needs
why
reps.
didn't the guy that didn't have the reps get more reps? Like, he needed more. I don't understand.
Why did Patrick Mahomes have more reps in preseason than Desmond Ritter?
Yes, it's an issue.
That's insane.
It's asinine, bro.
But yeah, which direction do we go for quarterback next year?
I lean more towards the draft because the team is still young. Certainly offensively it is. The defense is a little bit more veteran laden, but the offense is pretty young. I mean, you've got two, Chris Lindstrom is still, probably 26. He's in the prime of his career.
Yep.
You drafted Bergeron. He's your other starting guard. You just drafted him. I don't know and don't think that McGarry will be – well, he will be back because you paid him, but he kind of looks like he was a waste of money. Jake Matthews is the veteran, but then when you look at the offense, it's nothing but young guys. Bijan, Pitts, London. Even with Matt Collins is still in his 20s. Like, he's not an old guy. Like, so I think Tyler Algier. Yeah, I think you fall more in line with building that core. It just feels like it sets you back a little bit more. Depends on how much of a contender you think you are, but I think that starts to come down to the coaching too. If the coach isn't 100% the problem, like, how good is this team with better coaching? What's our record? If you think you're a 6-3 team right now instead of 4-5, then you go out and get a vet. If you think that you are about where you should be, maybe about the one football makes you 5-4, then you probably draft a guy, right? Like, it just depends on how far along the team should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
That to me it does, because it determines it. Like, if you want the team to grow together, the rookie quarterback move is the right move just because of the low cap hit. He hasn't got paid yet, and you get him for 5 years. But, like, if you get a vet, what are your options to getting a vet? Ryan Tannehill is not an option. Like, that's not an option. Jimmy G is not an option. These guys that Kirk Cousins would be the only person that's an option, but even now with him, man, he's coming off an Achilles injury. And, like, look, Aaron Rodgers might be getting ready to prove us all wrong with that. But, like, bro, that is not an injury that you still want looming over your franchise going into a season that's supposed to have a ton of promise. And especially if Arthur Smith is still the coach, he can't push all his chips in on that. Like, he can't do that.
No, he can't, because he go bankrupt. Well, not bankrupt.
Well, he'll be out of the job sooner rather than later.
So we talked about some draft picks, and I'm, if we're lucky, we get a Michael Penix. But I'm thinking more about the kind of the third tier of the quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I don't want Bo Nix, because I don't buy into him, and I could be wrong on Bo Nix. JJ McCarthy is playing better football than I expected him to play, and he was a 5-star, and that matters for something. And I thought about Jordan Travis or the kid down at LSU, Jaden Daniels. Like, maybe those guys are available in the mid to late first, or you get them in the second round, and maybe they're not your franchise guy that fill in all the jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they're a diamond in the rough like Dak, and they're allowed to utilize the weapons as they grow into an NFL quarterback. Because I don't think we need – I think we can have something similar to what Tua is doing, somebody who can just wheel and deal. Mm-hmm. We don't necessarily need the big playmaking quarterback, the Caleb Williams, the Patrick Mahomes, for this team to be a really good football team.
Right.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice. Don't get me wrong. If we could find a way to get a Drake May, a Caleb Williams, draft him.
Yeah.
But because that doesn't really exist for us, just can we find somebody who can distribute the ball accurately and on time?
Yeah. That's all we ask for. We just ask for a guy that's gonna do his job. Do his job. Just do your job. Don't turn the ball over. And look, everybody wants a Patrick Mahomes. We want a guy that's going to be able to light up the scoreboard, make every throw possible. But we know that that's few and far in between in the NFL. It is. It really is. I mean, you're not going to get that guy. There's 3 of those dudes in the NFL, even in reality. Even with the other really good quarterbacks, there's like 3 guys that make those throws. And Mahomes actually makes different throws, too, that even the other 2 don't make. Like, if it's not Joe Burrow, if it's not him, and really Aaron Rodgers when healthy, bro, those are the only 3 people that make all the throws. Like, Josh Allen doesn't make all the – and I like Josh Allen, but, like, he don't make all the throws. Lamar Jackson does not make all the throws. Like, these dudes don't make all the throws. Like,
you got to put Stafford in there.
He doesn't make all the throws. He turns the ball over a lot, too.
Oh,
He did that in Detroit. Like, I mean, he turns the ball over. So,
yeah, he does that.
And Mahomes is kind of turning it over this year, but, like,
they got 8 picks.
These guys, man.
We got Tyson Bagent or whatever his name is coming up.
Yeah.
And our pass rush wasn't great. And we're not getting Montez Sweat because he just signed a 4-year, $98 million extension with the Bears.
Yep.
Good job, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Yeah, man. I'm starting to sour on the team, and it has very little to do with the players. It's just the lack of consistent quarterback play. It's not utilizing the weapons and Arthur's big effing ego. Like we went for it. We went for a 2 against Washington. Why, bro? Just kick the extra point, man. Just try to win. Let's tie, go to overtime. They haven't moved the ball the entire second half. And if Desmond Ridder wasn't on the fucking pot, just shitting the game down his leg, we probably won that game comfortably.
Yeah. No, agreed.
You want to get to CJ's big day?
Let's get to CJ's big day. He had a huge day. Monster butt.
And I'll tell you, man, it was a big second half, too, because I was watching the first half of the game and wasn't looking that great. The looks were there, but he was just airmailing the ball. But CJ Stroud goes off over 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're walking out of the Falcons game like, shit, man. We lost. Tampa's about to win. And then all of a sudden, oh, no, CJ Stroud marches down the field. With
dime.
Yeah, dime. 2 back-to-back dimes to what, Tank Dell?
Yeah.
It's dimes. Dilfer would have had him all over on Monday.
Yeah, oh yeah. Dilfer dimes, easy fix.
But you've been high on CJ. You thought he was the guy. Granted, he did lose head-to-head to Bryce Young, but Bryce has struggled.
You know what? We do have to kind of question, well, how good is his supporting cast, right? But CJ doesn't have nearly this. I mean, their supporting cast are damn near the same, and some would actually lean towards Bryce as being a little bit stronger, at least coming into the season.
Yeah, Adam Thielen.
Right. That proven receiver, right? Even though he's older, but he's having a renaissance kind of.
Yeah.
Too. Hayden Hurst was an okay tight end.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz, I think, is a better tight end anyway. Like, I think Dalton Schultz's time in Dallas was better than Hayden Hurst's time here, Cincinnati, and in Baltimore. But that's why he's on his 4th team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like Dalton Schultz is a better tight end. But, like, then we get down to the coaching when it comes to stuff like that, too. D'Amico's a player. I mean, Frank's a former player, too. But
he's not a good coach.
And that's really what I think this actually boils down to, is that Frank Reich's not a good coach. And considering that he's a quarterback himself, offensive coordinator, sure he was been a quarterback coach at one point in his life too. It's surprising because we haven't seen this
young quarterback defense
breakout. Yeah, there hadn't even been one breakout. We're halfway through the year. Bryce Young hasn't had one game where we're like, okay, I see the flash. We even saw that with Justin Fields. Like, Justin Fields had flash games his rookie year. Like, he did have flash games. So that's where the concern is. And maybe it's because a guy like Frank does need a veteran, because when the Red Rifle was in there, when they went to Seattle, Carolina put up points, and he put up some numbers. So maybe he needs more of a guy that is a, veteran to coach, as opposed to he's not somebody that's going to make somebody better and train them better. He needs somebody that's plug and play, and then he'll figure out what's the best way to use him.
I think Tepper is going to clean house. They just gave away the farm for Bryce Young, and it's not looking good. Now, It's only halfway through season 1, so this means absolutely nothing. I mean, you had people calling the Rudy Gobert trade the worst trade in basketball history, and Minnesota.
Rudy Gobert?
Minnesota is probably the team best equipped to beat Denver in the playoffs this year. So we'll see how that goes.
Rudy Gobert?
We'll see, but no, CJ's looking great. He's all but locked up, offensive rookie of the year. And just watching him extend plays in the pocket and getting outside the pocket, but keeping his eyes downfield and throwing the ball, it was beautiful to watch. Mm-hmm. Did you hear what your boy Dan Orlovsky said?
What did Big Dan have to say about things?
I want to put him in the MVP conversation.
Put who in the MVP conversation?
CJ Stroud.
Okay. I tell you what, if they can come back and win that division, let's talk about it. His numbers are great. They are great. Like, he's got great numbers, but come on, man. Come on. And when you start saying, let's put guys in MVP conversations, we start talking about, he's been one of the 5 best guys on the field all year across the league. Fuck his team. Fuck his division. Fuck his conference across the league. I don't think that we can get there yet because the wins aren't stacking up. He didn't do that against Arthur Smith and the Falcons. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. CJ Stroud, that might have been, maybe it was his worst game of the year. I don't know. But, like, he didn't look very good against us. So, and we're a mediocre team. So, pipe down, Dan.
Who do you have in your MVP conversation right now?
Well, a lot of people want to throw Lamar in there. I think, this year has been so muddled. I would think Tua has to be in it, just statistically wise. Like, he's got to be in it. I know A.J. Brown is really high on people's list too. He has been. It's been a really big part of that offense. He's looked great. I think if the Lions didn't get hosed the way they did against Baltimore, I think Jared Goff certainly should be in it.
Mahomes?
I don't put Mahomes in it. Even though they're winning, he hasn't been as crisp. He's always in it. Let's put it that way. It doesn't really matter how it goes because he is who he is. He's kind of always going to be in it.
The advanced analytics says this is his most accurate season. But watching
the ball over more halfway through the year now than he's ever done. So,
and watching it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's not aesthetically pleasing. And like you said, you made a very good point to Justice here on Sunday when we talked about this. This was kind of more of what we thought the Chiefs would look like last year. When we were kind of down on them in a sense of, they take the step, and hell, they're still not taking a step back, even with the way he's looking. Because hell, what are they? 6-1, 7-1. So, they
6-2.
Oh no, yeah, they did lose to Denver.
Yep.
So 6-2. So that's still, you're on your way to basically 13-4, 12-5, worst case. I don't have him in my MVP conversation. No. You know what I know is crazy? You really could have even started to, in a weird way, throw Kirk Cousins in it with the comeback that the Vikings look like they're kind of on the trajectory to do. He's looked great all year, and it wasn't his fault that they lost those games. The Philly game was tough. Again, it was a tough game for him, but
Kirk would never be an MVP. He would never be an MVP.
That's true. I'm just saying, but when we start talking about conversation,
no love for Josh Allen.
He was there, and the team was starting to make some strides.
No love for your boy Josh Allen. Speaking of taking strides,
can't do it. Tua is the best. Been the best quarterback in that division.
So, what do you think is wrong with the Bills?
I think it's stale voice. In reality, I think they need a new voice, and maybe the Dayball thing really affected the team more than we know. But I think it's stale. I think Sean McDermott. Somebody compared Sean McDermott to Tony Dungy with the Bucs. That he's taken the team as far as he could. He's built this thing, and they are what they are. I forgot who said it. It was on Twitter.
I think I saw that too.
I think it wasn't Pro Football Talk. Maybe it was King. King. It might have been Peter King. I don't remember, but somebody did. It was somebody with the check that's a reputable person in football media that did say it. And I'm like, okay, maybe. Now, here's the thing. I remember Tony Dungy with the Bucs. I mean, I was a kid. But I also know when they won the Super Bowl. Of course, I remember that.
Yeah.
And that was only the year after. So I kind of remember Tampa being this team that was kind of good.
They beat us every year.
Well, here's the thing. 2002 was the first year of the NFC South. They weren't even in our division at the time. They weren't in the NFC West. We were in the NFC West. And we were with the Saints, the 49ers, the Panthers. The Rams, and somebody else. That was our division. And so, that became a thing in 2002, the year they won the Super Bowl. But, yeah, they used to harass the shit out of Michael Vick. I still have a ticket from the day Michael Vick got hurt against them in my thing. I have the ticket. I still have my ticket from that game. I wrote on the back, we lost 20-6 L, and then I put Vic injury on the ticket. It's so crazy that I keep this stuff. It's wild. As a kid, I just knew to hold on to something. I don't know.
So what's wrong with the Bills? You say stale message?
Stale verse, yeah. Voice.
I just think their roster is not as good as we think it is. It's specifically their offense. They can't consistently run the ball, and it's Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs or die. And that's just no way to build a football team.
Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs or die.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're being honest, Josh Allen may be the most talented quarterback in the entire league, but he's not consistent.
Agreed. He's the guy that has every intangible, has proven that he has the intangibles, and has everything at his disposal to do it. Defense has been really injured, though. So, let's give that a little bit of something at the end of the day. That doesn't say anything about why the offense isn't scoring as much points as they should, but that is a part of the team's success. That defense has kind of been the identity of the team, more than anything in reality, because they haven't been – they're actually running the ball relatively okay this year, which was something that the offense hadn't had. But now the defense is taking a step back. Maybe Von Miller's lost a step too.
It's coming off the ACL.
There's only but so many of these 3 messages that we can give out too for the year.
Well, we got another team going in the opposite direction, and that's the Bengals.
But you know what? They've done this now. This is the 3rd year in a row. They slow start, and then they just get hot, and they just don't lose football games.
Yeah, so I'm kind of done. I'm done talking about the Bengals until week 5.
You won't write them off anymore.
No, I won't. I kind of just wanted to write them off because they started slow. But here's
Joe Burrow said that he wasn't going to write you back.
But here's the thing. Based on what I predicted to happen in the preseason, this whole division is winning games. I'm not going to say the whole division is good because Pittsburgh is not a good football operation.
Yeah.
But they're winning games.
But even before the season started, when we did do our playoff predictions, we had this conversation. We both had the Bengals and the Ravens in.
Yeah.
And Cleveland was the team we were like, man, I don't know. Like I was like, the defense is good, right? We didn't expect them to be as good as they have been, but like we were like, they have a good defense. We're like, can Deshaun Watson like propel them? Obviously, Deshaun Watson hasn't played half the year.
Oh, and they're still there.
But they're still there, and that's give Kevin Stefanski credit more than anyone.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, give Schwartz the credit too, obviously, because the defense has been dynamite. But like, give Stefanski credit for being able to work around Nick Chubb being out, having PJ Walker. Who started before somebody else? They started 3 quarterbacks this year. Who's the starter before PJ? PJ wasn't the only guy that started a game.
What Brett Rippon?
It was Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Yeah,
decent. Yeah, and they lost that game. They beat a tough 49ers team. They persevered. I mean, I think it's a good football team. Like, to me, they're going to probably be that 7th seed.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, big game with Baltimore this week, but like to me, they're going to be like that 7th seed.
Let's talk about a couple of more teams. We got the Cowboys and the Dolphins. I paired these two teams together because when it looks good, it looks great. But these guys don't really beat good teams.
Yeah.
One and done in the playoffs is my prediction.
One and done, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the Dolphins may get lucky.
The Dolphins are probably going to win that division.
If the Dolphins win the division,
they're not a first-round exit. I think –
depends on who they play.
Yeah, I tell you what, yeah, you're right. If they get – let's say that they're the 2 somehow, and they get Cleveland. It's a losable game, but I think they would win at home. I think they'd win that game.
I'd hope so. The Cowboys, man, they do cowboy things, and I mean, they kind of just blew the game. I know we didn't really talk much about the Dolphins-Chiefs game. It's 21-0 at half. Chiefs, I mean, the Dolphins make it interesting, but it was kind of a boring game. Offense, no explosive offense, a defensive touchdown by Kansas City. So, yeah, 4 offensive touchdowns, man. That's not what we showed up for.
Yeah.
So, but Dallas, Philly, we kind of watched this game Sunday after the Falcons game. Dallas just does Dallas shit, man. That's really all I can say.
Dallas is Dallas. Does that make sense? The Cowboys have been the same team for so long, especially with the Dak regime under the Dak Prescott era. They've been a team that always would win games as long as he was healthy. They, in a weird way, their identity is exactly what they show us. They don't have an identity as a team in terms of they were kind of a running team, right? But like they don't really have an identity anymore. Like in terms of like the brand of football, like the style of play, they don't really have an identity. But their identity would be exactly kind of what we see, and that's a team that doesn't show up when the lights are bright, right? Like,
you know, look really good coming off the bus, and then you get in the game when it's nut crunching time.
Yeah.
You know they're going to break. Like, come on, Dak. You can't step out of bounds for the 2-point conversion.
You can't do that. If you're Mike McCarthy, if you're going to go for it on 4th down and you don't get it and you trust your defense to get the ball back with 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, why don't you just kick the field goal anyways?
Because you say you're going to get the stop, right?
That was the fucking, like, craziest call because I said, well, if they kicked the field goal, they would have won the game. All they had to do was kick the field goal.
Kick the
It
field
was already like a 4th and 6 on the 30. Now, granted, the kicker could have missed, but that wasn't – you don't expect him to miss.
No.
So I don't understand why McCarthy – to me, that game was more on him. Dak stepping out. I mean, you could lose – I'm not saying – he's got to be more field awareness, but Dak played well. Dak threw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns with no turnovers. So, Dak played well.
Dak is good for having a lot of yards and 3 touchdowns.
But that was a good game against the Eagles defense on the road. I think that was a good game. Like, that was a good game from him.
Well, you know, the Eagles secondary is terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if Josh Holtz knows this, but the Eagles secondary is terrible. If you can get time to get the ball off,
you can dice them up, huh? Like some onions.
Yeah, absolutely. No tears either. No tears. You put that onion in the freezer. But yeah. Man, we're kind of zooming through. Anything else happened last week that we care about? Oh, Bill Belichick.
Oh, you mean the rumors?
Hey, let me open up here. So if Bill Belichick gets fired at any point during the season, I hope that the football gods put a New York Jets level curse on Robert Kraft. Hope they put an Atlanta Falcons level curse on Robert Kraft. I hope they put a Chicago Bears level curse on Robert Kraft. Yeah. I hope they put a Jacksonville Jaguars, LA Chargers, you name the cursed teams in the NFL, the Patriots deserve that. I understand you may not like the direction of the operation. Well, you got Mac Jones playing quarterback. Yeah, Bill drafted him. Well, what were his options after Tom left and Cam wasn't great? Okay.
Yeah.
You got to try to get better. This man won you 6 Super Bowls. This man made the Patriots a national and international brand. The least you can do is let him walk away with his dignity and finish the season, and y'all mutually agreed to part ways.
All this stuff coming out definitely isn't. It's no bueno. It's no bueno.
No, and I just think it's classless. Like I don't think
it's no bueno.
I don't think it should come out because, for one, there used to never be leaks out of New England. Now there's more leaks than a damn Titanic. And it's, I'm a Bill Belichick guy, so maybe that's my bias coming in. But when a guy adds so much value to your franchise and has made you the premier franchise in the NFL, shouldn't he get to at least finish a season?
That type of stuff shouldn't be getting talked about when he's done so much. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, okay, well, let's give Tom credit. Somebody still had to coach Tom at the end of the day. There was still some structure and some order on that team. And Tom Brady's not the only guy on the team at the end of the day. As great as Tom is, he still wasn't the sole reason that they won those Super Bowls. If anything, the first 3, to me, were more Belichick anyways. I mean, obviously, Vinatieri's leg, getting them done in the game. But it's not like Tom Brady was lighting people up back in the day. People be forgetting how the Patriots shit started. That shit was defensive. Yeah. Romeo Cornell, Charlie Weiss as the OC. This was the stuff that was going on there. Yeah, they played defense. They ran the football, and they passed the ball when they needed to. Yeah, nigga, Kevin Falk running the football, right? Before, and I'm talking, look, I'm pulling out some names. Before Corey Dillon was a Patriot, people forget it was Kevin Falk that was the running back. He was throwing the ball before Deion Branch, man. He was giving the ball to fucking Givens. Like, there were a bunch of no-name dudes, bro, that were on that Patriots team.
Troy Brown. David Patton.
Yes, bro. This is what I'm saying. This was the team. This was the New England Patriots that won 3 out of 4.
Yeah, so you let Bill Belichick lose games and come
Bryce
back.
Young actually running the football. Flag, though.
Good for him. You know what? Another thing on this Brady versus Belichick thing, I think it's the most stupid media-driven type of topic.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to call football the ultimate team game, 22 guys, you throw in special teams, let's just say 30, give or take.
Okay.
Team of 52, 53. How are we going to say one guy wins the divorce? Like, oh, no, all the Patriots' success is because of Tom Brady. Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick, man.
Yeah, he said one guy wins the divorce.
Like Tom Brady played inconsistently in college. He didn't keep a spot in college.
Yeah.
Well, one guy drafted Tom Brady, for starters, put him in that structure, put him around those coaches, taught him offense based on how he coaches defense. And we say this guy's the best D coordinator ever.
Mm-hmm.
No shit, Tom Brady is the best quarterback ever. You are learning how to attack defenses from the best.
Defensive mastermind.
Right. That's like going to the SAT with a fucking laptop
Yeah.
and ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Get out of here, baby. We won't be perfect, but we're gonna get enough right.
Yeah.
Head to Harvard. You ready to get to some picks? Because that's kind of all I got for NFL.
I am. Hold on. I'm sorry. There's something that is literally burning my soul right now. Howard is beating Georgia Tech in basketball.
By how much?
They're up 6 at the half. And
Oh,
the game is here, obviously.
Well, yeah, I know Georgia Tech would not travel to Howard to play basketball.
How pathetic is that, Lee? Just out of curiosity. Like where's the state of Georgia Tech basketball? And I know that, we're on the NFL and, we got this Thursday night game. Look at Bryce Young fucking moving the rock with his legs.
They got Damon Stoudemire down there, right?
Yeah, Damon Stoudemire's the coach now because they hired him from Boston or whatever. And, obviously former league player like Damon Stoudemire. He coached at Pacific, which I believe is in California. He coached for a Division I school before he took the Celtics job. So he's done the recruiting. Like, he knows how to be a college coach. And the thing is, there's so much rich talent here in Atlanta. It's just insane. Like, there's so many niggas that have come out of here, bro, that are like bona fide hoopers. And
Georgia Tech has those academic standards that they uphold.
They do, but they were letting dudes in that didn't have them, is what I'm saying. Like that. Because they care. Think about it. They care more about the basketball program than they do the football program, anyways, right? Like, they always have. Historically, Tech's a basketball school. It's not a football school. Like, historically, they're a basketball school.
Didn't they claim a national championship in like 90, 91?
That the football program did, but the basketball program went to the Final Four. You remember Paul Hewitt, Garrett Jack in like 05 or 04.
Yeah. Forrest Critton and Luke Schenscher.
Yeah, it was the UConn. The year UConn won with Mecca Okafor.
Mecca Okafor.
And Charlie Villanueva. And Ben Gordon was probably on that team too. Like,
yeah, UConn men and women won that year.
Yeah. And so, they put so much emphasis into it. I'm sorry, I was just blown away. Maybe because I took Georgia Tech to win the first half and I lost my bet. But anyways, we'll move along. Picks.
Yeah, picks.
All right, we're all set up. Let's go college football first, baby.
All right. I'm gonna need a little. I don't know how good it's gonna be this week, but it's time for Parlay Pete's College Football 6-pack.
I thought it was pretty good. I think that you did a pretty good job there. But anyways, we're back with the college 6-pack. We went 3-2-1 last week with college. Relatively interesting college slate, all in all. We're getting to that point in the season where, we know who's who and we know what's at stake now. Now we know what's kind of at stake because it's about 3 weeks left in college football. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and kick this thing off with the team that I've been correct on for 2 straight weeks, and I'm going to keep riding this fucking train because they've got a chance to play in the Big 12 championship. We got Texas Tech at Kansas. Give me Kansas -3.5. Really like them on this number. They've covered the last 2 weeks for us. We're going to keep the train going. Next,
Kansas minus what?
-3.5 at home. Texas Tech at Kansas -3.5. Next, we were just talking about Georgia Tech basketball, and now we've got Georgia Tech football. They've looked actually pretty fucking good. They don't stand a chance to beat Georgia this season, but they are actually making strides, and I can see it. They're at Clemson. I think Dabo's feeling himself a little bit because he told off Timmy from Spartanburg, and they did beat Notre Dame, which was a game that, gosh, I mean, did they actually have to have it? No, but they probably did need to win it so that people could shut up for a little bit.
Yeah.
This week, I'm going to ride with Georgia Tech +14.5. I think that's too big of a number. I don't think that they would beat them by more than 2 touchdowns, the way that Tech's looked. So give me Georgia Tech +14.5 at Clemson. Next, we got Arizona at Colorado. We're back on a prime game. I haven't been on Prime's game in a few weeks. I like the over here, over 54.5. Arizona doesn't have a great defense. Prime and them were stagnant on offense against Oregon State, but we could argue that Oregon State has the best defense in the Pac-12. So Yeah, I like the over 54.5 in this game. Arizona can score, and I think Colorado's offense gets back on track to at least score some points.
Oops, that didn't work the way I wanted it to.
That's it. Why are you bigger than me? Pause.
Let's try to make you bigger than me.
Anywho, we've got a even bigger game here. We got number 13 Tennessee at number 14 Missouri. Big game. Not necessarily for implications for the SEC East because that's pretty much been wrapped up. Assuming Georgia takes care of business this week, that actually will technically officially be wrapped up. Tennessee's got 2 SEC losses, if I'm not mistaken. So Georgia wraps up the East with a win against Ole Miss, and I think that they will, which we'll get to that game last. But anywho, Tennessee at Missouri. I like Missouri money line. They're underdogs in this matchup. I thought that they looked pretty good against Georgia, honestly, considering all things. I like them. I think that Missouri's going to win. It's pretty simple for me. Next, we got Utah at Washington. Big game. I like over 50 here. Washington doesn't really have a good defense, but they can sure as fuck score points. And we saw that Utah is liable of giving up the butt because Oregon did what they did to them, and this game is going to be at Washington. So I like over 50 in the Utah at Washington game. And then finally, we got Mississippi at Georgia. Georgia has failed to cover numbers all fucking year, so I'm not going to touch the spread. I said unders. I meant spreads. They've been failing to cover spreads all year. Ole Miss at Georgia, I like under 58. I actually don't see the points really getting put up, and I know Ole Miss isn't that great defensively, but Georgia is, and it's going to be wet and cold. It's supposed to be raining here. I like under 58. That's a lot of points. So give me under 58.
All right. So we got Kansas minus 3.5.
Uh-huh.
Tech plus 14.5.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona at Colorado over 54.5.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri on the money line.
Mm-hmm.
Utah at Washington over 50.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss at UGA under 58.
Yeah.
You like it? I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Parlay Pete NFL 6-pack.
Six. Yeah, so now we did really awesome in the NFL, right? We were at 4-2.
Yeah, I think so.
Hold on. I gotta check my stats here.
Check stats. My team winning.
What did we do? Lee, we went.
You sure we went 4-2?
Yeah, we went 4-2. And what it was the Bucs lost at the Horn, and the Dolphins and Chiefs failed to live up to the hype. In reality, so kind of a fluky 4-2, but 4-2 nonetheless. You won money if you roll with me. If you want to go and take a ride with me. Anywho. We're back. We got the Houston Texans at the Cincinnati Bengals. If Dan Orlovsky got to tell us this game is going to determine who wins the MVP of this year, because it's CJ Stroud versus Joe Burrow. Give me big balls Joe at minus 6.5 at home. I think those boys are going to steam them. I think they're going to bring the Texans back to reality because they are actually an elite team versus an up-and-coming team. I think this is a relatively easy number to lay. Give me the Bengals minus 6.5 at home. Next, we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Arguably the game of the week. I wish that they would flex this game to Sunday night, but they're not going to because it's too late. I like under 45. I don't see the points coming into this game. I think that there is going to be a struggle. Some people would look to think that maybe this game will go over. I actually think I think it's going to be the complete opposite. I think that it's going to be a struggle to score some points in this game, and that 45 is, more than a good enough number to take the under. So give me the under in this game. Next, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay's season pretty much ends if they lose this game at home, and this one's a pick 'em. So I'm just going to go with Tampa. I think that they should win this game at home. And yeah, their season's over if they lose. Like, it's over. It will literally. They're 3-6. They'll be 3-7. The season's over if they lose this game. So they have to win. So I like Tampa. And Tennessee is a rebuilding team. So, Yeah. But next, we got Green Bay at Pittsburgh. This one's got underwritten all over it. Matt Canada's offense versus Jordan Love. Trying to put up some points, too, against the Steelers' defense. Give me the under 38.5 here. I love the under. Next, we got the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm buying half a point, and I probably shouldn't, but I am. I'm going to buy half a point. Give me the Dallas Cowboys minus 16.5. I'm laying the wood, man. DeVito versus that defense. They already lost by 40 to them with Daniel Jones. So what the fuck is going to happen in Dallas with DeVito at quarterback? I think Dan Quinn has wet dreams about these scenarios. I really do. So give me the Cowboys minus 16.5. They're going to clear like fuck. And then the final game that we got this week, we got the New York Jets at the Las Vegas Raiders. Another game that we're going to have to go ahead and take that under on, boss. Under 38.5 is the pick there. The Jets showed us that they don't really have anything. Oh, looks like Carolina might. Oh, he's going to run it back. Oh, it's a flag, though. That'd be rough if they didn't get it. Under 38.5, though, Jets at Raiders. I don't see the points.
All right, so we got Bengals minus 6.5. 49ers at Jags under 45. Bucks on the money line. Packers at Steelers under 38.5.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys minus 16.5. Jets at Raiders under 38.5.
Yes, sir.
Well, you like it. I love it.
And that means that it's time for League 3.
League
3.
League
3.
All right, for League 3 this week, let's start off with the college boys. You know what? Let me go Ole Miss, UGA, under 58. Go Dogs, silk 'em.
Don't you just see that being a struggle to score? It's going to be wet, and it's actually going to be cold here. It's like going to be like 50, 48. Yeah, it's going to be ugly. Yeah.
Let's to the NFL guys. Bengals minus 6.5. I think they win and cover.
Oh yeah, come on.
And I'm going to take the Cowboys to cover too, minus 16.
It's like they're setting this treat out, and it's just kind of like, guys, I don't know what you want me to say, but they already beat them by 40. In what world don't they cover? They're going to win by 20-something points.
Here's my thing. If they don't cover, I don't feel bad giving out that pick.
Me neither.
It's like, yeah, you know what? They sucked.
Yeah.
They took their opponent for granted.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, that concludes hour 1. Done a little early. Well, I'll be 57:30. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hour 2. So we talked about some college football gambling with the picks. But now let's talk about college football. The poll came out, or the college football playoff came out again, playoff rankings. Nothing changed up top, 1 through 4. I think the biggest thing that we can look at there is Oregon being the top 1-loss team.
Yes.
We have.
Do you think that they're actually better than Bama, by the way?
No.
Or Texas?
Depends on if Quinn Ewers is playing.
Okay, go ahead.
So, yeah, we have Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Michigan 3, Florida State 4, Washington 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Alabama 8, Ole Miss 9, Penn State 10, and Louisville 11. I only went down to 11 because there is a possibility that the top 11 could get into the playoff.
Okay.
Highly unlikely, but there's a possibility that 1 through 11 can get in. We have a big Michigan versus Penn State game coming up this week. I'm hoping Penn State wins. I need the Big Ten to get funky.
Yeah, so that they can lose, and then Michigan beat Ohio State at the end of the year, and then it pretty much just knocks the Big Ten out. And as long as Washington clears, they're in. See, here's the issue, though, with the Bama thing. Bama doesn't get in unless they beat Georgia. So if Bama has 2 losses, they're not going to let them in. Even if Texas loses another game, they don't let Bama has to win out. Which after doing what they did this past week, they're kind of set up to do that. So they just have to beat Georgia. They're going to beat all of them.
So here's what scares me. If Bama beats Georgia, and Georgia's the first 1-loss team out.
Oh, Georgia gets in. If there's a 1-loss team that gets in, it's them.
What if
even if Washington loses trips? Let's say Washington loses to Utah this week. and then they beat Oregon a second time. There's no way you don't let Georgia. Georgia has to be in the play.
I feel like
Georgia's loss is a close loss to Alabama in the SEC championship game. You have to let Georgia. There's no way
they deserve to win. They deserve to defend their national championship.
Yes, they're back to back national championships. Not just one. It's two of them on the line here.
I kind of wouldn't mind watching Florida State blow a game just so they can get out of the way.
I want them in because I actually think they're a top 4 team. That's just my opinion on them, though. I think that they are good. I don't think they're the best team in the nation, but I think that they're top 4 worthy. And it's good to have another program like that. They haven't been in the college football playoff. Last time they won, obviously, was with James. Well, no, they have been in the college football playoff. They lost to Oregon in the first ever college football playoff game. But, it's good to see a team like that return. It'd be great if them and Oregon played each other, actually.
Cold-blooded, baby.
Did you start Miles Sanders, by the way?
Unfortunately. Yeah, I didn't have much of a choice there.
Yeah, tough week.
I know. We just need
Miles Sanders, a Penn State guy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're rooting for Penn State all the way this week. I see you.
I used to say Miles Sanders was the best Penn State running back in the NFL.
And this is where I throw in the Jay-Z gift of him in the Excuse Me Miss video when he walked in.
But here's the thing, man. Saquon wasn't healthy. That's all.
Sure. I mean, sure. But you knew what you saw when you at least saw Bark on the field, right? I mean,
yeah. I'm not stupid. It's a hot take. Paul Feinbaum had some scathing words for Michigan this week.
Okay.
He pretty much said there's a dark cloud over that program, and even if Michigan wins the national championship, gets into the playoffs, there's going to be the dark cloud of the cheating scandal.
I agree. He's not wrong.
I came across a very funny post, though. It was somebody saying ESPN out here talking about Michigan cheating, but they regularly use stories that other sources confirmed and not their own source.
Really?
Yeah, but ESPN. I was just like a random Twitter person. Let me see if I can find it in my DM somewhere.
So it wasn't a.
Oh no, Brett McMurphy. No, blue check. He said it's ironic. ESPN is hammering Michigan and Jim Harbaugh for sign stealing when ESPN continually steals and fails to credit reporters and news organizations for news ESPN didn't break.
That sounds like a bit of former employee to me.
Well, here's the thing, though. ESPN does this. Somebody will break the story, and then they will put confirmed by Adam Schefter or confirmed by Woj.
Right, but it was really shams.
Yeah.
But they said that there's a Cold War between him and Sham, the Athletic and
ESPN.
Yeah, there's they don't mention their names. Even if they break the story, they'll just say sources.
I think it's petty. I also think ESPN wanting to be. I know they're the number one news source for sports, but making sure that they're always first, I think it's a bit overrated. The consumers don't care. They just want, because the information is shared so quickly, we just want it, bro.
Right.
If Bleacher Report breaks it first, I don't really care. I have both apps on my phone.
Right.
But do you think wow, that was terrible. How much do you think this Jim Harbaugh Michigan sign stealing thing is actually something? Because I don't know if you saw that apparently Ohio State and Purdue were sharing some Michigan signs too. It's been turned over to the Big Ten.
I did see that. I mean, let's see if they're going to be founded on it. I think it's kind of weak to put the attention away from you to throw it on somebody else and say, well, we only did it because they did it. Because that's kind of what's being done. It's kind of a, well, we only did it because they did it type thing. But it's pretty weak in general. But hey, at the same time, if they have evidence of it and they're able to prove it once they get founded too, then what do you do if you're the Big Ten? I mean, you can't just death penalty your entire conference, especially now with all the money that's coming in. Then USC, and then they start looking like, damn, we might have the better conference already anyways, because now everybody coming to play finally.
Big Ten's not going to do anything because they're going to protect the interest of the Big Ten.
Yeah, the money.
They're going to wait for the NCAA to do something, and I think the schools will lawyer up.
All these guys are Vince McMahon and Donald Trump, bro. That's who they are. And because we know that those are guys that give a fuck about their money, bro. If there's ever anyone that's giving a fuck about money, they're the two best examples of it. They give a fuck about their coin.
Yeah, they're cutthroat.
Whoever has the Bears kicker must love that penalty. You got your extra point.
Yeah, no, but I think it's something, but I think it's really been overhyped. I just don't care that teams are signed still in and Michigan's advanced scouting. You know, it's an outdated rule that was out there for when programs couldn't afford to send people to advanced scout. Well, guess what? There's millions and millions and millions of dollars rolling around in the Power Five. They can afford it. These schools have private jets. Okay, these kids don't fly commercial to the game.
Well, it's been going on. I mean, to the extent that Michigan allegedly has been doing it, that's a little different. But like the sign stealing thing's been going on because guys pulled up that stuff's been going on. Come on, who doesn't look at it and be like, okay, I see the common theme between that sign and what that means, and then what play they run. So that means that whenever this is in this corner of that sign, that's what this is. Like, that's what that means, right? Like, I think Peyton Manning actually broke it down pretty well, too, on the Manning cast. Eli, it wasn't signs, but it was words and stuff for audibles even. Right, which you could switch that around, like whether it's the letter B that's being used in whatever word it is, or there's a genre of whatever it is that you're using, right? Yeah. So I think that's a tale that's as old as time. But I think that they're trying to get them the way that like the Astros got. Yeah. To where, okay, everybody does it. Everybody's looking for signs, but you guys are going to another extent. You know, in baseball, you're beating on trash cans. And in football, you've got guys dressed up as Central Michigan guys. like it's what type of espionage type shit is this?
Hey man, look here, Jim runs a great program. Here's what's going to happen. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen, and Jim's going to be coaching in the NFL next year.
Yeah.
Would you accept him on our sideline next year?
Yes, I would. Absolutely, 100%. I've seen his work and I enjoyed it. Hell. He came to the Georgia Dome and won an NFC championship game. I was there to see it, and I want to see more of it, except for with the Falcons being on the winning end.
Hey, Jim Harbaugh, we don't care if you steal signs around here. Only thing that Arthur Blank cares about is the humane treatment of dogs. And if you mistreat those dogs, just tell them the truth.
Right. And even then, he can help, maybe that up for you. Like,
just got to tell them the truth. Come on, Jim. Love to have you here. Another thing, Lane Kiffin is under a little heat for a conversation that he had with a player. Pretty much, this player took some time away from the program because of his mental health. Mm-hmm. He did not tell his head football coach what was going on. Mm-hmm. His head football coach was trying to reach out to him, get in touch with him, and it was crickets. Then he finally showed up, and Lane ripped him a new one and kicked him off the team and told him, go check your scholarship. Go check the clause. We can kick you off. Yeah, we can kick you off. You didn't show up. And I totally agree with it.
He's trying to sue him, though, right?
I don't know if he's trying to sue him.
If you go on ESPN right now, it's literally like the top story.
Okay.
It says, Kiffin Ole Miss asked to dismiss player's $40 million suit. So I assume it's the same thing. Yeah, that is exactly what this is.
$40 million.
His attorneys argue that what they were doing was inhumane. And, everybody can look at this too and say, well, what if everybody has that problem? There was an episode of Lee. I think you know this about me. I'm a huge fan of King of the Hill. It was my favorite show growing up. There was an episode of King of the Hill. Look at Bryce Young unleashing the ball. Unbelievable. There's an episode of King of the Hill. It's in the second season. Really good episode. King of the Hill's first 6 seasons, gold. They're really good. But in the episode, basically, Hank accidentally hired a drug addict.
Okay.
He didn't know he was a drug addict. I guess they didn't do drug testing in 1997 in Texas. But he hires a drug addict, and essentially there was a law in place to where employees could claim a disability. I guess it's the Disability Act, actually. And essentially, you had to make accommodations for this employee. His disability was that he was a drug addict. He couldn't just fire him because of that. Even though he showed up to work late, among other things, he couldn't do it. So Hank's having to deal with this, and then the rest of his employees decide, I'm too bloated. I suffer from this. Everybody started coming up with different things that they suffered from. That was their disability. So no work was getting done. But by law, basically, this was how the episode ends. By law, you had to have 15 employees or something like that. Hank decided to quit, and then he said, this makes this company no longer the government's. It's yours, Buck Strickland. You handle it. You do what you want. And then Buck realized, oh, my God, he just saved the company. And then because the guy that was the drug addict started going by Hank, too.
Okay.
And shit. And, you had to respect it because it's his disability. My point being is that the way that this will get thrown out easily, even within that, fuck the bylaws that they already had signed up. Everybody could claim that they've got mental health on that team. So what if nobody plays football? Then what? Right? Like that can't happen. So I would imagine that within itself, everybody suffers from mental health in a weird, in a way, you could easily say everybody suffers from mental health.
Yeah.
Whether they admit it or not, everybody.
It's
Everybody fits the criteria for needing a mental health break.
Yeah, just like our physical health. Sometimes, hey, dog, sometimes my back is hurting and I can't lift heavy things today.
Right. Even though the scan shows nothing wrong, it hurts me. And you're not me. You don't know. So, exactly. Yeah.
So just skimming through the article, they wanted the kid to transfer. He didn't want to transfer. Hey, big dog, you're not playing D-line. You're playing O-line. He didn't want to play O-line. Lane said, well, you might want to just quit. What it screams to me is entitlement. It screams I want to do things my way on my time. Hey, and if you're really good, you get to do that. Or if you own the team or you coach the team, you kind of get to do that, at least for a little while.
Right.
But when you are talent and you're not top end talent, you're a backup, and they're saying, hey, we want to put you here to try to get you an opportunity to play because hey, big dog, you're not playing here.
Right.
Well, then you got to accept that if you want to play there or hit the portal. I mean, this isn't 7 years ago, where you would have to sit out. You get one free trip to the portal. Hit the portal, big dog. But $40 million is nuts.
It is.
Let me see. What was it? $10 million in compensatory damages. Compensatory damages. Wow. I sound like I don't have a college education. And $30 million in punitive damages. Let's see. The lawsuit alleges that Kiffin intentionally took adverse actions against Rollins on account of race for requesting and taking a mental health break, but not taking adverse action against white student athletes for the same requests. It alleges sexual discrimination on the basis that Ole Miss has not taken adverse action against female student athletes for requesting and taking a mental health break. I'll tell you what, those other athletes, specifically those female athletes, they don't generate revenue for the college. So people don't really care. Not because they're women. Because the golf team's the same way. Men's golf team. Ole Miss has a good baseball team, so they may make some money.
Yeah.
Basketball team probably makes money. But hey, rugby, lacrosse, we don't care about you. You're just here because America told us we have to have these programs, Title IX and so on and so forth. Football, you're the cash cow. So, yeah, if you're not going to be here, you're not going to be available, hey, man, hit the portal. I want to give your scholarship to somebody else who's going to be available.
Yeah.
And I think, in this whole mental health piece, it's important to be cognizant and aware of other people's mental health, kind of, sort of. But as an adult, it's your job to manage and maintain your mental health. Just like your job to manage and maintain your physical health. And ideally, you want your employer or your university to care about that. But most of the time, they don't. They want you there to give them what you signed up to be there for. So if it's to be a college football player, we want you to get out here and play football. If you're just a regular college student, we want you to pay your damn tuition and make good enough grades so you can graduate, get a degree, go on and make our school look better. Maybe give some money back when you get on. If you're working, your boss only cares about your mental health for the most part because he or she knows how much that affects your production. It ain't about your mental health for real. It's about your production for them.
Right. That's the trade-off. That's what we agreed on.
Yeah,
that's what we agreed to.
Like, we both have children, and people are understanding when you say, hey, man, I can't come in, like, my kid's sick. But ain't nobody hearing, hey, man, I can't find daycare. I'm going to be off indefinitely. No, you're not. You're going to be off.
No, that's okay. He's like, let us know when you're done, and we'll let you know when we want you back, because that's the way this relationship clearly works. You let us know, so we'll let you know. I mean, is that not what this is? And basically, based on this story, it sounds like he didn't even tell him ahead of time, though. That he just skipped the meeting and said that was why.
I've got to read the full article because I didn't see it before we started the podcast, but it's thick. Hey, yo. It's a lot. I also think it's a generational thing, and people are trying to use Lane Kiffin's words at Media Day about placing an importance on mental health at Ole Miss and trying to say he was full of shit. Well, one, yes, he was full of shit. Two, a football coach is not going to care more about your mental health than your production on the field, because his paycheck and his mental health is tied to what you do on the field on Saturdays.
And I'm sure that the team has a therapist too. Like, they these big programs, they fund that stuff. They have it.
When you start pulling the race card and the gender card, man, it raises my eyebrows. And I'm not saying that Oxford, Mississippi is the most black friendly place in the country. I imagine it's not.
I imagine it's at the bottom of the list.
I imagine there are people who make important decisions at Ole Miss who only trust certain folks as far as they can smell them. And if they ain't running that football, if they ain't blocking, getting interceptions, trying to beat Georgia, then they don't really give a damn about them.
If he didn't run a fucking 4.4, he's dead to me.
But these people also know that they don't want lawsuits and they don't want bad publicity.
Well, they don't want to fuck their money up either.
Exactly. You know what, Parlay Pete? That's a good point. A lot of people think that there's a lot of benevolence in this world, but it's truly, no, I don't want to be inconvenienced.
I don't want to be inconvenienced. I don't want to have to start over again in any capacity. I don't want to be known for this. I don't want to be blacklisted. It's, the least path of resistance to getting my cut. Exactly. Is the route that I want to take.
Oh, so we got to put out these different stickers or these bands each month to celebrate this cause. What's the risk if we don't do it? Oh, we get bad Yelp reviews and people saying we don't care about this cause. Okay, let's just buy the $500 worth of stickers and shit and just put them up there, man.
Everybody wear them around the facility for a day. We'll call this that day, and
we'll have
all will be well.
We'll have some sandwiches and some ice cream.
And we'll invite somebody from said organization to come and speak. We'll give them a round of applause, and we'll tell them, we should do this every year. And then everybody will be okay with it. We won't give a fuck. Nobody in this facility will give a fuck. They'll give a fuck, and they'll feel like they've got one up on us. But the reality is that we just paid to make this problem go away before it became a problem.
And we're in the expectation of whatever production you were supposed to do. Yeah, dog, you're still supposed to get that done, and you're not getting paid more.
Yeah.
I know it took you away from your workstation for 2 hours for something you didn't care about. I know.
All right, leave, please.
Yo, these are my favorite types of conversations that we have on here, honestly. It's once we get going and just talking about the reality of life and not the bullshit that
everybody wants to put this makeup on.
Yeah, like even when it comes down to like your friendships, yo, if your friends aren't doing something that satisfies you, you're not going to be friends anymore. And they can be a great person. They could have done nothing wrong. It's just, you know what? Every time I'm around you, bad stuff happens. Or this is the ugly one. I've outgrown your finances.
Yeesh.
I still like you, man, but we can't go on trips together because
right.
This is just where my life is at now, And yeah, bro, people aren't as nice and caring as you think they are. Like even like that nice lady who always has a smile on her face.
Yeah.
Bro, it makes her feel good to do that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, is everything okay? You look a little down today. Yeah, man, my kid's sick. My wife's pissed off. My dog almost bit the mailman. I had a fucking pipe burst, and it's Christmas in a couple weeks. Yeah,
my car broke down. The warranty just ran out. It's a $4,500 repair that kind of is coming out of nowhere. But yeah, everything's peachy. Mm-hmm.
Are you
gonna solve my problem now that I've let you know what's going on?
No, they're gonna pray. They're gonna pray for you.
And then they'll ask you again in a couple of weeks, did it come to pass?
You know what? It did.
Why is Kelsey in the booth? I get it. I guess they're on bye too, but what the fuck is this, man?
He's preparing for retirement.
They named him to the sexiest man alive list or something on People.
Jason Kelsey too?
I thought Jason was. I don't think Travis was the one that was named. I thought it was Jason.
I thought it was Travis who got like sexiest athlete.
I think it was Jason.
That's like putting the fat girl on the homecoming court.
Yeah, you mean like Lizzo on the front of Vogue?
Yeah. My high school, in my class, they actually did that 2 years in a row. They put a larger young lady on the homecoming court.
No, it was Jason Kelsey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Google it. It was him. And apparently he said on being Sexiest Man Alive finalist, he said it's a win for plus-size bearded men.
I like Jason Kelsey. I think he'll be a good addition to
a booth or something, or a pregame show, postgame.
Yeah.
You want to talk about on here?
You want? Huh?
Maybe that's what's going on here.
Yeah, he's just auditioning.
Oh, you mean for when Al leaves after next year? Now that Al has confirmed that he's not leaving after this year?
Nah, probably to replace Kurt.
Well, Al made it. They were trying to make Al out to be this bad guy, and like I said, it would be hard if I had to call games with the college guy too, and I kept having to see the Bears and the Panthers play every week.
Yeah, no,
it would be a tough sell for people too, to where they're like, yeah, this guy doesn't look like he's into it anymore. It's just like, yeah, I'm not.
This guy called it the Miracle on Ice, man. Look what you're giving.
Yeah, I can't get the Monday Night Football / Sunday Night Football. Like Sunday Night Football always will get the best games for the most part. Even though this week we get a shitty one, Raiders Jets. We get O'Connell versus Wilson. I mean, we all thought it was Jimmy G, high flying offense taking on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, but
You know, I mean, this bad kid is just not good at football.
You said who's not good at football? Oh, Bajent?
Yeah, agent. He's a double agent. He's not good.
What happened here? Because I think you're ahead of me by a snap. Did he get sacked or something?
No, he just underthrows the ball terribly.
Oh, yeah, you got DJ Moore, too.
Yeah. Yeah, just throw the ball.
It's a tough sell. I mean, especially considering DJ went off last Thursday night game.
Oh, yeah.
That was the Thursday night game that when he had those 3 touchdowns.
Why do the Bears have to? Well, you know what? They're punting Amazon. They're going to make Bezos work hard to get an NFL team.
On the plus side, Adam Thielen hasn't done shit, so that kind of helps you out, too. The difference in this game has essentially been a punt return.
Goodness gracious. Let's push through, man, because I'm struggling.
Yeah, it's all good. I've got only about 25 more minutes because I kind of told you I was like, yeah, I gotta.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you care about Colorado getting their stuff back miraculously?
The question is how. I care more about the how. How and where did they get it?
I think the fact that no one's really talking about it is a lot of ass covering and a lot of hey boy, you bring all them diamonds in here, we'll show you.
Well, but we've talked about this last week that it was an inside job. But the question is, well, who was it? Where are the charges at?
You know, I haven't seen that.
Because that's theft. So, and that's grand theft. Maybe not Grand Theft Auto, but grand theft, which Grand Theft Auto 6 apparently will have a trailer coming at the start of December. Okay, a lot of people are really excited about that. But
when are we getting a game? Like in 2025?
Probably it'll probably be a Christmas drop for 2025.
Yeah, man.
It's also the most expensive video game ever made, too.
How much is it going to cost?
They said between $1 to $2 billion, which I think is. But you know what? That means Rockstar's been printing money if they even have that type of money to put into one game. But then again, it might be the craziest fucking video game of all time. And I don't know about you, but I started playing. I was never like Justice and my older brother Tars. They played it more. I liked it when they beat the game. I didn't like doing missions and stuff. I like just freelancing and like kind of like fucking around.
Yeah, me too.
So I never did play the games like that, but Grand Theft Auto 3 was the first one, obviously, like kind of that most people played.
Yeah.
And I love the game. Like, it's a good game. I think it is a good game, but it's not, there's not multiplayer. So it's a one-player game.
I'm only child, so it works well for me. I like
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't.
Yeah, I'm an only child, so it kind of worked out for me.
Yeah. So but and it was fun watching them play too. Like I enjoyed watching them play the game. It was, there's entertainment there too, and of course the soundtrack is really good on Vice City.
Off the brakes, break it up.
Vice City, I'll never forget. You get that game, you're basically on what's Ocean Drive in South Beach. You hop into that car and it's. You want to be starting something, got to be starting something. How to get over, yeah. Too low to get under, yeah. Stuck in the middle, yeah.
Let's talk
about you're a vegetable, you're yeah.
Thoughts on this in-season tournament?
In-season tournament for the NBA?
Yeah, the poorly named in-season tournament with no sponsor.
It's whatever. I get that this kind of happens overseas, and I'm aware of it. I was aware of it anyways. Like I know that my boy Latana, obviously he plays in Spain, and so I know that stuff is super duper familiar. But I guess I don't know how it brings more engagement. I think the only engagement is going to come down to when they play those games in Vegas.
Yeah, I think.
Like nobody, because they are regular season games, so it's kind of like, well, who gives a fuck type shit,
right? And how do you make the American consumer care about it, and how do you make the NBA player care about it, especially with rings culture? Okay,
yeah.
in season tournament, but you didn't get a ring, so Who cares?
Who cares about your what would they call it? Wow. Your Mickey Mouse ass.
Yeah, I know, your Mickey Mouse cup, right? Like,
Yeah.
they've got to find incentives outside of money so that there's legitimate buy-in.
Similar to the All-Star game.
Yeah, find incentive other than money so there's legitimate buy-in. Put some steaks onto it. You know, put those bad boys on the grill, flip them medium rare. That's what we need. We need steaks. But right now, it's just, I just think it's effortless. You know, when you throw cash at something, you usually throw cash at things that you don't want to put time into.
Yeah.
Like guys who deal with night walkers, those types of John's night walkers. The reason why these night walkers get cash is because the guy doesn't want to take the time to listen to you, talk to you, get to know you, find out what you're really into. Like, you know,
I give to fuck your ass.
Yes. He wants to be inside of you and get cash money, give you cash money.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, I don't really care about the tournament until the NBA shows me that they care about it and put some effort into it. I just don't think it's going to do what the suits in the room thought it would do.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the Lakers blowing?
Oh, please. I thought you weren't going to ask. Yeah, man, these guys blow dick. So I don't know who all has been actually paying attention to the NBA because I know the season is still young and a lot of people don't start getting into the NBA until the NFL is over. But I, not just as a bettor, but as a person that certainly grew up, you know, I played basketball. So I enjoy basketball. And, I mean, what a bad product on TV. It's such a bad product, Lee. Like, I watched the game yesterday, and I stopped at halftime because I said, you know, stop the count is basically kind of what I was saying.
No mas.
Yeah, man. It was one of those, man, stop the count because it got really ugly. And the thing is this. Like you said, LeBron kind of mails in games once it's over because what is the point of containing play? He's only risking injury. You know, every time he scores a basket, he rewrites a history book. But, like, what does he have to play for when the game is over? And the bettors are pissed about stuff like this. But let's talk about how historically they have been the worst first quarter team in NBA history through 8 games. Their point differential is minus 74, higher than any team in NBA history through 8 games. They're getting off the slow starts. And I think a part of that is kind of what I was telling you when it came to LeBron. I'm like, well, he's not being aggressive either. Like, he's not really being aggressive either to start these games. He's very point guardish. Like, he's straight point guard type work. And so,
man, let's get to it. Time for D-Lo to go.
Yeah.
D-Lo gotta go.
Hey, he's not loading anymore. It's a frozen screen. When the disc is crashed up on your Xbox or your PlayStation and the screen's loading, but then it stops, and then you're like, fuck. The fucking disc is too scratched up for this game to play because it can't load anymore.
Yeah, that's what D-Lo is.
Yeah.
Even when he plays well, it just doesn't look good.
He's a guy that hasn't lived up to the second pick billing, and it shows. And he's gotten these second leases on life. You know, when he left LA, he went to Brooklyn. He made the All-Star team because it was his team. You know, it was a patchwork Nets team, kind of what the Nets are doing again, by the way, but that's another story. Patchwork type team. Mikal Bridges will be that guy this year for them. And it's not, I like Mikal Bridges too, but like, come on. You know what I mean?
Cam Thomas is going to be the guy.
It's Mikal Bridges, bro. That's his team. But, yeah, he goes there. Then he gets a second lease. He goes to, what was it, Golden State.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, well, this could work. Him with, damn it. Fucking Panthers, man. They suck. I took the Panthers first half. But Well, if they can keep him to a field goal here, I have a chance. But okay, Golden State, that doesn't work. One of the worst Warriors teams. You know, they draft James Wiseman because of how bad it went there. Then he goes to Minnesota. He plays with arguably the most talented team he had been on prior. Well, that team might be more talented than this Lakers team, but most talented team he's been on.
Yeah.
Underwhelming. They get rid of him. They sent him to LA because they're like, man, fuck that. We gotta get something else out of this because this is pretty fucking bad. Vegas sucks. He's done. What it is he's a starter on a bad team in the NBA. That's what he should be. That's his lot in life. He's a starter still in the league, but just on bad teams.
He should be in NBA purgatory. And I'm trying to,
where's that name?
I'm trying to
it's
think.
Not Sacramento anymore. It used to be Sacramento. Is it Charlotte? Is it Charlotte now? Like, is that basketball purgatory these days?
Yeah, I'm starting to think of like all the other teams, like, you know, the Knicks, they got something going. The Nets aren't good right now, but they have pieces. They're trying to figure it out. The Hawks are good. Miami is Miami. He's not going to go down there.
Orlando's a purgatory to a degree.
Yeah,
but they've got young things too, but they're still not there.
They're not there, but you wouldn't want D'Lo in your team because he's going to take away from your young guy.
Indiana looks like they're kind of taking steps too, because that's kind of a purgatory itself. But like, they're kind of making strides. Like, Tyrese Halliburton's a good player.
You know, I don't want to like Tyrese Halliburton, but I'm watching him, and this kid is good.
He is good, and it's okay to admit that too.
Yeah, I just don't like the way his game looks sometimes. I hate his shot. It's so ugly. But it's cash.
He's so well-rounded because he's a taller guard.
Yeah.
That should have been a pick. He can rebound. He obviously is he'll probably lead the NBA in assists this year. He's probably second to James Harden last year. So, and he can score. He can give you 20 every night. So, like, I mean,
good basketball player.
Yeah. He reminds me, he's not the same player, but he reminds me of how DeJounte Murray was with the Spurs.
Is that
a good comparison?
Just a guy who's a really good basketball player.
Yeah, but is that good? Does that work?
I think so. I think Halliburton has a higher ceiling.
Really? But DeJounte's a better defender.
True.
Oh, they're going for it.
I think.
And they got it. Oh, my God, bro. I'm not going to win my bet.
And Halliburton is a media darling too, so like that has to go into your thought process. Hey, you know what we didn't talk about during the Falcon segment?
What?
Josh Dobbs showed up on Wednesday, got pulled into the game and made big plays, and he did not know the plays.
He didn't know their names either.
He didn't know a snap count. He
the
didn't
only
know
thing he knew was
football.
What route are you running? Okay. Thanks. Break. By the way, guys, this is how I sound when I say hut. I know you guys aren't used to hearing my voice, but this is how I sound when I say it.
Apparently, they like Kevin McConnell was in his headset, like talking through the concepts in the huddle before the clock hit 15 seconds, so he would know where everybody was going.
So he told him, he's like, all right, he's running a post. He's going to do this. Because think about it. They couldn't really audible either.
No. He could just scramble out of the pocket and run the ball multiple times and win the game. Yeah. Sorry, we missed that in the Falcons' first segment, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about that. You were talking about Ime got Houston looking kind of good. Another place that we thought could have been NBA purgatory, but they're actually.
Yeah, no, he definitely has got that thing cooking.
Look, man, he's a good coach. He just likes to hit little ass at work from time to time.
And that's why he wouldn't have worked out here. There's an ass factory right down the street from Phillips Arena, or State Farm Arena. And it wouldn't have worked out too well for him, you know?
Well, if they're not part of the organization, he'd be okay, right?
Well, maybe, but if he's over there too often, that could be a problem for everybody.
Oh, man. Speaking of which, did you see that Nia Long video of her
with Young Jeezy?
Well, no, hell no, I didn't watch that. I'm not interested in a Nia Long Jeezy interview.
Well, but everybody talked about Jeezy and kind of what he said to her, and it was like, is this nigga, trying to shoot his shot on the low?
He definitely was. I was listening to Jeff Teague talk about Jeezy the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, I was a Jeezy fan. I thought he was, gangsta, all that. Man, once I met Jeezy, nah, bro, you gotta have a gun, dog. All that street shit you talking, bro, you too little, bro. You 5 foot nothing.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of Jeezy." I'm like, Jeff Teague is the media personality that we didn't know that we needed.
You want to know who Jeff Teague is? Because he was such a silent player during his time. Like, Jeff Teague never gave any quotables as a Hawk, and we're here to watch it, right? Like the local media.
Yeah.
When it's Fox Sports South, Hawks are playing. Maybe you see afterwards Dominique or somebody, like, never quotable. Typically, he wasn't even the guy getting interviewed, but even if he did, like, never any quotables or anything. And then, boom, he becomes the realest nigga in podcasts for the NBA. Realer than Draymond Green, because it's so authentic, I think, is what makes him so likable, is that everything that he's saying is 100% exactly what happened, because he doesn't really have anything to hold back anymore. Like he said, I'm sure you saw the one where he said, we went out to China once to play the Warriors, and him and Steph obviously are the same class. I didn't realize they were the same class, but they're the same class. And so they knew each other from, camps and stuff. And, of course, Steph played at Davidson while he was at Wake Forest. So they're both in North Carolina, too. And, he said Tibbs basically told him, he said that he was playing hard as hell. He said it was like 100,000 people at this game. So he was like, I'm not about to get embarrassed in front of China. And he's playing his hardest. And basically said Tibbs even came up to him and said, man, that was the best defense I've ever seen you play. He said Steph Curry dropped 44 that night. So, but that's real shit. Like, that's real shit. You know what I mean? Like, or him saying Brian Forbes on the Bucks when he won on that team, they asked him about that. He said Brian Forbes, basically, he was like, we were sitting on the bench talking the game. He's like, man, we're not winning the championship when they played the Nets, because he's like, KD's just cooking. He's like, bro, we're not winning the championship. Like he said, I didn't think we were going to win either. But that's real. That's a real commentary that we didn't know we needed.
Dog, he had a story about Kobe, and it was when Jeremy Lin had played for the Lakers. He was like, man, you left me out here with this shit? You see this shit you left me out here with? Because he was supposed to come to the Lakers in the offseason. And he was like, he didn't want to leave Atlanta to go to the Lakers because he didn't want to have to deal with Kobe.
Right.
And, like, that's the stuff that niggas like Pert, Dick, Jeff, name a TV personality, they're not going to get on there and say, hey, man, you know what? I really took the bag to go to this one team that I knew wasn't going to win. Why? Yeah. I didn't want to deal with the superstar. It wasn't even about the money. I didn't want to be that committed. I didn't want to get dog cussed at practice. And the Lakers teams weren't good. But Kobe's still going to act like we supposed to be good, but we're looking at this roster and there's no chance in hell we're going to win games.
Right.
No. I'm going to go have fun. Yeah, I know. I've become a huge Jeff Teague fan. Timberwolves, team most equipped to beat Denver in the playoffs this year.
Maybe.
They got the on-ball scoring Ant. They have the defensive big in Gobert.
Cat's got to step up.
Cat does have to step up, but I think within time he'll step up. You got the veteran point guard in Mike Conley, who's seen it all except for the third round of the playoffs.
They're built well. But it needs Cat to be stepping up, and Anthony Edwards has to actually really, and I think a lot of people thought he did so this summer, but the FIBA team still finished fourth. He has to step into that superstar realm. He needs to be a top 10 player in the NBA in order for that to be the case.
Well, he had that nice little steal from Jason Tatum, and then went and bust his ass in overtime. And apparently Tatum was talking shit after he got ripped, probably crying for a foul. And that was one of those moments where you go, hey, man, this young fella's figuring it out.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those moments. Like you just rip Jason Tatum, which not gonna lie to you, the Celtics have probably the absolute worst tight game offense in the NBA. That shit is bad.
Are you talking more about what happened last night with the Sixers?
I'm talking about period. ISO Jaylen Brown, ISO Jason Tatum.
Okay, so it happened in that Timberwolves Celtics game too.
Yeah.
I had money on the Celtics, so I know. Well, here was the thing, man. They should have won that game. They really should have won that game. It was the worst. Like, they didn't call. So they got a rebound or something. It was like 11 seconds left. Jaylen Brown comes down, bro. For one, they had a timeout. I don't understand why they don't call a timeout. But this gets back to coaching.
Joe Mazzulla's not a good coach.
Joe Mazzulla could be the issue there.
Well, yeah, he's not a good coach.
You got Drew Holiday, right? Jason Tatum, Porzingis. I think Horford was on the floor and wasn't Derek White either. So you've got two super duper veteran guys in Drew and Horford, right? They've been in these situations, I mean, hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Tatum and Brown, of course, are the expected guys to shoot. And then Porzingis, can shoot. Like, he's capable.
Like Cam Reddish.
But instead, Jaylen Brown gets the ball and he ISOs, right? Like, kind of like you just said, it's ISO Tatum, ISO Brown. I don't understand why Tatum, for one, wouldn't have been the one that was getting the ISO because he's the best player on the team. Maybe Brown was like, I make more money than you. No, like type shit. But
I'm super max around here, dog. You just a regular max. Chill, man.
You're the old max, nigga.
You can't sit
You
there.
don't even have the new max, nigga. You got the old max. I have the super max, nigga. Nigga, if there was somebody in the NBA that wanted to talk about game checks, I got the biggest one. Bron, Steph, he's like, name any of them. Dame, nigga, I got the biggest check in the league this year.
But you know what? John Wall had the biggest heist in NBA history.
He did. And he's out of the league. And for what it's worth, John Wall's really been out of the league for 4 years, if we want to really be technical about this. He hasn't been a viable player in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but he signed a supermax right before he was not good anymore.
Yeah, big payday.
I wouldn't be good anymore either.
Yeah.
5 for $250. How much do I really care about this? I'm gonna get neck tats turned into a hood and throw up gang signs. And not to say that John Wall, I don't know what John Wall's walk of life is. I'm just making jokes.
Right.
I don't need the John Wall Finster talking about some you niggas don't know what you're talking about. John really give it up out here in these streets. And I would say, well, that's stupid. He should give that up. Too rich.
Is that a flag on the Bears?
I believe so.
Good.
It's game.
I took the Panthers minus 0.5 first half at plus 160.
This is terrible football. I'm probably not watching the second half. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably gonna lay down.
As you should.
Anything else you want to talk about? I think we're done here, honestly.
I think we've wrapped up pretty well too.
Yeah, we've got to
go too for a quickie.
Yeah,
this is one of those quickies that you save and you're like, gosh, I wish I could stay longer. Like,
yeah, but I'm sick and it's showing. I feel it.
Look, I understand, Jordan. I'm here. I'm your Pippin. I promise I won't talk about you bad later, though.
Okay, thank you.
As long as your son's not fucking my wife and, marrying her, and then you want, he asked you to be the best man, and then I'm just sitting here, and then we don't have this, I'll carry you off the floor. Like, yeah, I'll carry you off the floor.
All right, Parlay Pete. I'll holler at you, big dog.
All right, AC, get better soon, brother.
Yes, sir.